to BroDown Theology, where we throw down theology with the bros. That's why we call it, BroDown Theology. Get it? I made a joke. It's funny. This is for the guys who like to know God and want to know more, but are also like readings for rich people. This is part 2 of our series on this guy, Paul. And if you missed part 1, you missed out on the coolest thing. Watch it, link below. But picking up where we left off, Paul, also known as Saul, just became a Christian, which is crazy because he used to hate Christians so hard, he killed them, including this guy named Stephen. You missed it. Anyway, you ever have a friend hate so hard that he killed people? Hey, Paul! Now, if you said yes to that question, you should probably call the police because your friend's actually a murderer. But Paul comes in and he was like, guess who has 2 thumbs and loves Jesus now? This guy. And remember those ads where the Kool-Aid man, would burst through the wall? Oh, yeah! Dude, you just put a huge hole in our wall. What? Not cool.
Hey, man, that's not cool.
That's how people felt about Paul showing up to their Christian parties on account of him killing, so many of them. And Paul was like, for serious though, I'm really sorry about that. I'm totally a Christian now. Acts 9:26 says, when Saul arrived in Jerusalem, he tried to meet with the believers, and they were all afraid of him. They did not truly believe that he had become a believer. So this guy named Barnabas, which means encourager, was like, hey, Saul, maybe you need some training. And Saul was like, I'm the best, I'm the baddest, I'm the toughest there's ever been. I trained under Gamaliel. And the problem was, Saul was like one of those guys who has all brains and no tact. The people you want to beat up because they're wicked smart. He would try to debate people, but Acts 9:29 puts it this way. It says, he debated with some Greek-speaking Jews, but they tried to murder him. And this was kind of a frequent occurrence in Paul's life. It was a problem, because basically every time he opened his mouth, people kept wanting to murder him. And Barnabas was like, bro, maybe you need to chill for a minute and spend some time in the minor leagues, working on your swing, working on your tact, working on making friends, working on some of the fundamentals, maybe not making people want to kill you all the time. So they sent him back to Tarsus, where he spends 3 years playing for the Railcats, working on some of his people skills, letting some stuff chill a little bit from, all the murdering and stuff. Now, I know this about Paul, but I have to take a moment to explain something really important. The Jewish people, they've always kind of felt like other people had cooties. You remember in the 3rd grade when the girls were kind of gross, but then in 5th grade, you started to realize that the girls were actually super hot because, in 3rd grade, developmentally, you just weren't ready, but in 5th grade, the wave of testosterone unlocked your inner man strength and your armpit hair, and all of a sudden, girls were all right. Well, that's how it was for the Jews. For years, gods were like, you're just developmentally not ready as a culture to handle the whole world. I want you to be set apart. I want you to be holy. I want you to be other. And other people weren't bad, but their culture was developing to the right time and the right place to eventually open up God to the whole world. Jesus comes along and then lifted off into heaven. Jesus gave this vision to the apostles after he went to heaven saying, it's time to reach everybody. Everybody. And they were like, everybody, yeah, follow Jesus, yeah, even if you're not Jewish, yeah, everybody's following God, all right. Okay, in theory, everybody was like, okay, that's cool. But it was sort of like asking a bunch of Hell's Angels to sell their Harleys and buy a bunch of crotch rockets. I'm talking Hayabusas. I'm talking R1s. I'm talking ninjas. Now, in theory, giving up that rich, rumbly, blah for that sick, fast revving, demon slaying, tree tearing, chainsaw massacring scream of these new bikes actually sounds pretty cool. But for a lot of these guys who were raised Jewish with the beards and the sideburns, switching from a Harley to a Hayabusa, not that easy. And God was like, so who wants to go? There were no volunteers, just a bunch of crickets. So guess who went? Barnabas! He's not even an apostle. He's just some nice guy who sold his field to fund the church. But he was raised in Jerusalem as a Harley rider, and the problem was he didn't really know how to connect with people who love leather jumpsuits and bright colors and fast bikes. He needed somebody who knew how to handle a fast-revving Ducati at 13,000 RPMs, somebody who grew up doing brake stands and wheelies on the freeway. And guess who did? Paul. He was raised both as a Jew, but also knowing Gentile culture in Tarsus. So Paul gets his big chance. Barnabas calls him up and says, hey, Paul, what if you had one shot, one opportunity to gain everything you wanted? Would you capture it? Or would you just let it slip? Because I'm giving you that chance. and you better lose yourself in the music, the moment. And Paul is like, let's go, baby.
Let's go.
And the rest is history. This was his opportunity that Paul had been waiting for. He'd spent 3 years in the minor leagues, but now he was called up to the big leagues, the big time, to swing for the fences. And they were about to go on their first missionary journey, but that's a story for next week.